let's get started. Last but not least, we have Diana Platonova here. She's the business development manager for MyTona. Diana is responsible for branding and revenue growth. She works with marketing very closely and with the game creators. So let's welcome Diana. Hi, everyone. Today I will be speaking in Russian. So
For translation, if you are here. Окей. Спасибо огромное, что пришли послушать.
thank you very much for coming. Today we will be talking about how hidden object games can reach top 10 highest grossing games in the United States. The presentation will be based on our game Seeker's Notes Hidden Mystery. We try to make the presentation as interesting as possible, as useful as possible, transparent, and we'll be considering looking at how we face different challenges. But first, I'd like to say a few words about myself. My name is Diana Platonova. I started working in MyTona 2 years ago as a business development manager. I'm working on Seeker's Notes and in our new projects. I wanted to say that I'm extremely excited to be working in the mobile games industry, and I think that we're extremely lucky to be working in this fantastic and fun industry. So this is what we'll be talking about today. First, I'll say a few words about our company, the history, the portfolio. Then I will be talking about Seeker's Notes, its goals and achievements. Then I will share with you my thoughts about how to make these games successful and what we can do to make it even more successful. And we'll sum it up in the end. So, MyTona is a developer and publisher of free-to-play games. We were founded in 2005 by two brothers. Right now, our team has over 200 talented people. We continue to grow each and every day. We have a lot of locations. So we are located in Yakutsk, in the north of Russia. So the heart of Russia, Ivanova is another location, and Singapore is the third one. We are planning to open offices in Southeast Asia and in other Russian cities. We have vacancies for remote working. Yakutsk is very cold, and this is Singapore on the map. This is our office in Yakutsk. Our company has over 10 years experience in hidden object games. So these are all the games, all the hidden object games we developed. Mostly they were premium games for PCs. In the beginning, we focused on creating high quality games. They were published together with Big Fish Games. In 2012, we decided to try free to play and to transition to mobile. So we developed Secret Societies, Hidden Society. Since we didn't have any experience in mobile games, we decided to release the games together with G5 Entertainment. It turned out to be a hit and reached top 13 of top grossing games for iPad in the US. The game will turn 5 years old this year, but it's still pretty popular on the market, so it's still in the top 70, 80 highest grossing games for iPad. After that, we had an idea to make the best hidden object game ever, and it will be drastically different from the competitors and other games on the market. Our new game is Secret Notes Hidden Mystery. It was developed by us and published by us in 2015. The latest achievements are the ninth position in top grossing iPad games in the US. The game is very successful in the West. So here are some numbers on the slide. In the UK, it takes the ninth place, in Canada, the sixth, in Germany, it's number 10, in France, 11. So here on the graph, you can see revenue growth of the game from the global release in the United States. The blue curve is for iPad. We can see that the growth was gradual, and the red is iPhone. So I hope that's not all we can achieve. I will be talking more about this in my presentation. This is the most important thing. Our goals is to make the game better. We follow new trends, features, and think about how this can help our games. Hidden object games have a lot of potential to become a hit in the long term, and our previous games do confirm this fact. So we are working on making hidden mystery successful in the long term. Actually, there's no limitations in development, so we can make the game better, achieve more. And we can even make an iPhone version. So Seeker's Notes was developed for iPad. And that was a big mistake. What did we do to improve this position, to improve the iPhone version? We worked a lot on the interface, on UI. So here's the smartphone version on the right. We made the art bigger, so it's more convenient to play on small iPhone screens. We also decreased the size of the game to 100 megabytes, and already the results speak for themselves. Our game reached the 57th position in iPhone games in the US. So, how did we reach the top? There are two key aspects here that you have to balance. That's game design and the game economy. Of course, there's a lot of different other aspects. Some of them are on the slide here. But today I will be focusing on game design and game economy. Hidden object games start with an exciting plot. It has to engage the player. Of course, the plot has to be visualized. It has to have quality art. And you should always continue supporting the game, updating the game, updating the content. Without striking a balance on monetization, the game will not be successful. So, in order to make our project profitable, we have to work on the game economy. So, I will be talking about offers today. But let's take a look at every point here. Let's start with game design. Everything starts with a deep storyline. A brief description of Seeker's Notes is the following. So the player wakes up in a cursed town, which is impossible to leave because all the roads leading to Darkwood are gone. He has to help the people who live in the town. He has to save the town from an ancient curse. And the more the player knows about this world of Darkwood, the more he knows about the plot. And the player finds a lot of unique characters, and he finds out about their bios throughout the plot. So every character interacts with other characters, they have conflicts, there's intrigue. So it's an entire world. Every 3 or 4 months, we resolve the plot, but then the players try to help the residents and play more. Our players are extremely involved in the plot. Let's move on. The graphics. I would say that all of our graphics are a work of art, and the secret is not just in the beauty, but it's in their uniqueness. A lot depends on the creative capacities of our team, so a lot of this was made from scratch. Retina, parallax, these things help us to ensure the best in user experience. We can see how well every location is made. Every month we update the game. Every month. With every update, we add 200 quests. We have a few main storylines and a few secondary storylines, and we update them all. We add a content location as a plot extension. So we always have to grow our content because players always should be playing. But besides all of this, our main feature of every update is a unique event. Every month, with every update, we implement a new unique event. It has its own new storyline, not in conflict with the main storyline. We give our players a problem that they have to solve. What is an event? It's a special in play game available to the player within a certain period of time, which offers certain rewards for getting through the event. The event lasts 28 days, 4 full weeks. Upon finishing the event, if they do, that's 30 quests, they get not only rewards, but things that cannot be purchased anywhere in the game. So, special avatars, stickers, and all of this can be used to customize the game. So, that's what the welcome screen looks like. And as I said, we have new event locations. These are usually places where the main storyline of the event takes place, and the location is added to the game forever. So I wanted to sum up the game event point. By adding events, we grow player loyalty because everybody loves new content. Moreover, people get new goals in the game, and for many of them, it becomes a challenge. All players like a challenge in the game. What's more is that events make the game deeper, more varied, and which is more attractive to the players. And it's pretty important that events have a positive effect on your game's KPIs. This is really an important part of the game, which you really have to pay a lot of attention to. Now let's talk about the game economy. So at the same time we released Seeker's Notes, we opened a few new departments. One of them had to do with analytics. So these guys analyze everything that has to do with the game. We created our own analytics tool and our own A/B test system. The analytics team is involved in engaging the players and in monetization. So this is a key part of the success. I will be talking about every part in detail. Let's talk about engagement. So remember these magic numbers. Always check your KPIs on these days. The first and third day, the beginning of the game, the seventh day is the first week. You can still change something. The 14th day is the middle of the game, and the 30th day is the end of the game. So we're not only looking at the daily retention, but the monthly, the quarterly retention, the retention at 6 months, and etc. This is very important to evaluate the game in the long term. So you always have to monitor player behavior from installation to the end throughout the whole life cycle. We noticed that the players who read the dialogue are engaged more than those who do not read the dialogue. And so this means that we should focus on the storyline. As for monetization, we are very interested in these KPIs, so we study the player behavior and think about how we can increase monetization. Of course, there's the main rule to follow. The LTV has to be higher than the CPI. We always use the A/B test for conversion, especially for offers. For example, we noticed that offers conversed best using art. For example, an offer with three huge rubies had a better conversion than other offers for the same price, and even offering more. So this means that the visual part, the visual aspect, is extremely important for the bank and the offer. And the A/B test can help you find the best solution. But actually, when we just started out, we decided on everything together and there were no analytics. Right now, we analyze everything we can get our hands on. So, to provide for further monetization, we use offers. We target these offers using segments. We have a special filter for every cohort of the players, and here are a few examples here. The players receive offers after a special trigger, so when they need them. For example, if a player is running out of energy, he receives an offer with energy. When he loses 10 times in a row, he receives an offer with hints. There's also offers that have bonus x2, x3, so they get 2, 3 times as many rubies in the bank. So there's a starter pack with rubies, and there's other types of offers. A one-time offer, we only show it one time. Limited time offers, we show them every day, once every 4 hours, and so on. Payers receive special offers, and non-payers get more offers for conversion. This has a positive influence on sales of the game. We also have a special offer throughout the main event. For example, there's in-app offers. So when he buys in-app, he gets access to a special location. We have exciting offers for those who participate in the event. By adding that to the game, we can increase bank conversion by 15% and offer conversion increased to 75%. And this had a positive influence on our position in the ratings. And the last thing that has to do with success are the rest of the aspects of the game. And I would like to focus on the support team. They provide support 24/7. They quickly resolve all the problems that our players face. They work together with development. They have daily reports with complaint statistics and respond personally to every complaint, even if the complaints are short or don't really have any text, because that can also happen. So that's what the update cycle looks like. That is a lot of work. We we do it for 28 days. It takes us 28 days. Every event happens after the previous one ends. There's no break. It is a lot of work. Every month we have an update and we translate it to 13 languages, test the build, order new sounds, add new characters, of course, have 2 new locations, have 3 unique monsters, 2 avatars, and everything has to be created from scratch, from sketches. So really, there's a very high workload. Hidden object games of a high quality need a lot of resources, and you really cannot try to cut corners here. So you really have to be sure that you want to do this. And I'd like to add that from the very beginning, we had a developer team and a producer team. In 1 year, our staff grew threefold. So we have a marketing team, a QA team, an analytics team, and a customer support team. It's very important for us to grow people inside the company. We don't search for cool specialists because we can create them. Our marketing lead, for example, used to be a tester. Our production manager used to be a programmer, and so on. The list goes on. It's a long list, by the way. One of the key projects of creating is good management. So it has to have good structure, working from the bottom up. Communication is key. It's the key to success. So here are a few numbers from the game that I wanted to share. We can see here that we did a lot of work in 2 years, and these numbers continue to grow. So to sum it up, I will be finishing up with this. What can we do for the game to be a part of the top 10? A game starts with an idea, and then you have to develop the idea. The second thing is getting a great team, which has to grow. You don't need to find great people, you can create them in your team. And you can't do anything without marketing. It's one of the most important aspects. The fourth thing is analytics. It's always important to analyze the game changes, the features. You will never know how to improve the game without analysis. And of course, the most important thing is to want to make amazing games. Thank you so much. I will be glad to answer to any of your questions if you have them. Hello, thank you. So this is a single player game? This is not a multi-user game, right? This is not a multiplayer game. Is this a single player game, right? There's one player, right? Okay, then customizing the player processes, is this a useful thing for you in a single player game? So this, you want to know what is the goal of the player? No. Customizing. Got it. I was talking about unique rewards that players get after getting through the event. So the player gets special stickers, medals. He has his own desk. Every player has his own desk, and he can customize this table. So when a player gets a special sticker, he can put it on his desk, and his friends can come visit him and see what his desk looks like. So that's why we make the game events with the unique rewards. For example, if a player gets an avatar, his friends see it, they see that it's cool, and this player, he feels special. So it just makes it more unique. He feels unique when he gets these rewards, and this is why he plays. Did I reply to your question? Great. Thank you for the presentation. At what point do the players see these banners with the offers? When they need them. I said that when the player loses at a certain location, he gets an offer for hints. That's a special trigger. So when a player needs a certain offer, then he sees this offer. Okay, so I wanted to clear things up. So let's say I played at a location, and then I see this offer like an ad. Is it perceived negatively at all? You know, as far as we can tell, no. They have a good opinion about this because they get the offer they need. And the player can buy it or not buy it, just close the offer. But as far as we could notice, it's a very important part of the game based on our analysis, and that's why we added the offers. Thank you. Hello. I have a question about the storyline. So, you need to create a storyline that can be extended without finding out the actual secrets. So you can play this game for years and continue to be interested. How do you go about doing this? So, yeah, how do you do this? First, I'd like to say that we have a really big team of writers that work on the storyline. Every event means that there's a new character who has his own story, which presents certain problems to the player. And this problem is resolved through going through the 30 quests. The event ends, and the main storyline, it doesn't end, it continues, it just goes on and on. There's a lot of detail, actually. It's a lot of work for the story writers, the designers. They take into consideration a lot of rules, a lot of details. It is just a lot of work, that's all I can say. So the main storyline doesn't change. We started the story in this town, and that's it. The main storyline continues to develop. And besides the main storyline, we get new side storylines and the events. They're totally different things. They should be similar, but the event storyline comes and goes. The content comes and goes. So this is disappearing content, is what we call it. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. It was very interesting. I have two questions. So the first question, you said that your audience cares about the story. How do you know? Or you just think they do? No, we know for sure. We have a lot of data from analysis. We have our own analytics tool. We have a few other tools that we use for analytics that help us to figure this out. We monitor the entire game lifecycle for every player. And that's how we know why we should focus on the storyline. I just asked because liking and not liking, being interested, not interested is an emotion. It's not something you can find out from analytics. So, what data confirms your hypothesis that the players are interested in the story? So, the fact that he is still playing on the 90th day doesn't mean that he likes the story. We're not looking at retention per se. How do we know that he reads the dialogue? We track the play sessions, how long the players play. So if he managed to go through the location or a quest over a certain period of time, then this means that he didn't read because there is a lot to read. If he read, then the play session was longer. That's how we know. Thank you. You have monthly updates. You said a lot about content because you have a lot of content to prepare for this update. What about mechanics updates, capabilities in the game? How often do you do that? Not very often. We add new features, and it's not like we see that Apple released a new feature and we have to make an update. No, we think about whether it works for us and then we add it. One of the last things had to do with Apple Watch to maintain retention. The previous one was parallax, and now we're thinking about Retina for iPhone. And that's about it for now. But besides the device features, we are always thinking about such features as, or mechanics rather. For example, for the next update, we will have a desk keeper. It's something that the players will be able to develop. It's the first time we will have such a significant addition to the game. But usually we just expand on what we have. We focus only on that. Thank you for the presentation, Diana. So, hidden object games are a very art heavy game. And every 28 days, you update the game. You said that you have to create graphics for the location and the avatars. How many designers work on that? Do you outsource that? And just in general, what do you outsource in the project and what do you keep in house? Got it. Okay, so everything except for translation and sound effects, music is done in house. All the artists are working in our company to create two avatars, two locations, and so on, three monsters. The artists get 28 days, even less, 24. And they do it on time. So, to answer your question, we don't outsource anything besides translation and sound and music. Any more questions? So, every month you have a new build, a new update. For the player, does he have to download a new build from the market, or is this content that dynamically uploads to the existing app? And does this have any bearing on player loyalty, on revenue? Right, so every month the player downloads the new update. By the way, we have micro events which are added dynamically. But yeah, every month the player has to update the game from the store. And they just get new packs. As for loyalty, well, we try to make it not get worse. So both from the market and just dynamic uploads. Both from the market and dynamic uploads, right? Right, both. So the content update and the main event are uploaded in the update, and micro events are uploaded dynamically. Thank you. You said that when you have a new location, do you have special locations for Halloween and Christmas? for a new player in the summer, does he see a location for Christmas? What do you do about that?
Well, it happens because the locations remain, and the location I was showing today was for Halloween last year, but it remains in the game because it's tied to the main storyline. Therefore, when you download the game for the first time, and the more levels you reach in game, the more locations you see come up, and they follow the storyline logic. And it's not only about Halloween or New Year. They tied to the events in the storyline. Therefore, it makes sense to the player. So it means that, I don't know, next year when I follow the same storyline, you will have a different Halloween event, or no? This year we will have a new Halloween location. It could be some new space or a new public place where something will happen. Yet another question, if I may. Your, if you can you say what part of revenue structure comes from office, special office, and what comes from regular purchases? How does that break down? I don't think I can respond to that right now. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, and another question here, a small one. It links to the previous one. So how many artists do you have? Frankly, I can't tell the specific number because the team keeps growing. I think we have about 10 to 15 artists. Thank you. Another thing is you said that there's an update. Y- So you try to have an update every 28 days. Is it fixed? Can it be 26 or 30? No, it has to be 28. So how many consecutive updates have you had like that? Well, we've switched to 28 recently. Before that, we had a 30-day period, and even before that, we had a longer break, a kind of a gap. Yes, and when the players get bored, they lose the interest, and some people stop playing. Therefore, we decided to stick to this 28-day update schedule and have one event right after the other so that the players are kept engaged. So do you have several locations in the pipeline that are prepared for that? Well, we're working on live operations right now. That's what we're trying to achieve now. This is what we should be doing, having some art backup, some location pre-prepared. But now we were running a very tight schedule. Does it mean that it takes 28 days for the average user to get through the location? But these are kind of add-ons to the main storyline. Yes, they are, but there are players who really consume the content very fast, and there's a lot of them who are real fans. It can take them just a couple of days to achieve whatever you can achieve in an event, and they go through the main storyline as well very fast. They just eat it up, and that's why we have to really constantly update. With that, looks like there's no more questions, so let's thank the presenter once again. Thank you.
We have many great people here at 4C today, and here's one of them. Hi, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Alexander Markovic. I am Creative Director at Ministry of Games, and I'm here to talk about city building games and design principles of those.
Nice. Do you remember your very first video game that you've played?
Sure, it was The Prince of Persia back in something like 89 or whatever it would have been. Yes.
It's a great game back in the day and still. What's your favorite game of all time today?
I guess I like mobile games, so at the moment I think my favorite game would be probably something like Brawl Stars or Clash Royale, so Supercell PvP titles, or on the other hand some city building titles like Township.
What do you think about the state of modern video game industry overall?
Well, I guess there is a lot happening at the moment, which is awesome. The core games are doing awesome stuff. The casual games are doing awesome stuff. So I think it is awesome that inclusion is happening on all sides, right?
Anything that maybe irritates or saddens you, something that you don't like in the state of game dev today?
Well, the only thing that might sadden us is the sometimes there is a bit of lack of inclusion happening, and sometimes there is a certain amount of kind of toxic behavior that occurs in the gaming circles. But other than that, I think it is just moving in the awesome direction.
Well, it is moving in an awesome direction, and we're here to try and foresee it. Speaking of which, what do you see happening in the industry in like a 10 years' time? What will be the new thing, the new trend, do you think?
Well, hopefully the mobile games stay relevant, right? But other than that, obviously AR and geolocation games are super interesting, and stuff that's happening with that is super exciting, and also hopefully as things move forward, we get more inclusive or like more engaged worlds that we kind of play together with each other. And I think this is something that we're hopefully moving towards too.
Well, you're part of the industry. You can help move it forward. Speaking of which, how did you end up in the industry? How did you come here?
Well, I guess as anyone else, I just kind of liked the whole idea of the escapism of the games that was offered to us as we were young, and I just kind of stick with them throughout my youth, and it was a logical choice growing older, right?
What's more important for you in games that you like graphics, storytelling, the gameplay, or maybe a combination?
I guess in the end, for me, it comes back to the community and then kind of the shared experience of playing the games. So it is in the end about kind of multiplayer of it,
What about the single-player games then?
which are also awesome. There is nothing about games that is not awesome, right? So single player games also cool, whatever story-driven RPGs, story-driven text adventure games. There is nothing to dislike in those either, but for me, just kind of the multiplayer experience is something that drives the medium forward into kind of this new, less explored areas of just kind of playing with your, children or with your parents or with your grandparents. Why not? And I guess this is something that just excites me.
So the future is in multiplayer and socializing in games. Is that right for you?
Well, I hope it is I guess what I'm saying.
Well, we can move it over there. St. Pete, we're here today. What do you think about the city?
A beautiful city, repeat, repeat. Awesome times to be had all around, and I'm glad to be here. Thankful for the opportunity.
Glad to have you here. Also surprised you know the cult song about St. Pete. What about the conference? I know it's the first day, but what are your impressions so far? Maybe expectations?
Well, I've met some awesome people all around. I'm looking forward to hearing their talks, to hearing their thoughts on the future of gaming and the future of the industry, and I have high hopes.
Any specific speech you're maybe looking forward to? Somebody you want to listen to?
So there is, for example, the Greg Street, the design director of League of Legends, will be talking about using user feedback to improve your game design. So this is something that, for example, I'm very interested in. And also anything from game design track is something that appeals to me very much.
Well, hope you find it useful. And finally, if you were standing here in my place interviewing yourself, what question would you ask yourself?
Whoa, not sure at all.
I guess you have all the answers then.
Yeah, possibly.
Well, I hope you find more answers here on 4C, and thank you very much, and have a nice time.
Thank you.
So we've prepared a few questions for one of our speakers. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Ville Rauma from Fingersoft, Finland. So, yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Please tell me, what's the first game you have ever played, the video game?
I think that would probably be maybe Microsoft Flight Simulator 3. And
It was your very first, right?
yeah.
All right. Which one is your favorite today?
Right now, basically, Divinity Original Sin 2 is like really awesome.
It's amazing. I gotta agree with you there. And what led you to the gaming industry? How did you start?
Well, basically, I was studying in University of Oulu, and we had a training period where you go to a company, and there happened to be a game company in the list where you can pick where you want to go, and I was like, yeah, I want to go there. So that's how I got started.
So they just took you in?
Yeah, because it's like the companies kind of volunteer that we'll take trainees from the university, so you can kind of pick where you want to go. So yeah.
Sounds great. So what is your favorite thing about the video game industry today?
Well, I don't know. It's like it's really hectic and it's quite kind of free kind of environment where people can really be, who they are, and it's kind of laid back. So I think that's pretty cool.
It generally is. But are there maybe things that make you mad or sad in the today's state of gaming industry?
Well, I don't know. Like, it's difficult to say. Sometimes there are things, but nothing pops to mind right now. Like maybe sometimes like they, especially like huge studios, kind of focus on single thing. You know how it is. Like sometimes there's only World War II games, and next you have only like future mech games or whatever. So it's like always these big trends and less about like innovation and new type of games. So maybe that.
Speaking of trends, do you see any trend surfacing in 10 years or so? How do you view the gaming industry in the nearest future?
Well, long term, like 10 years, I think probably there's gonna be big changes. Like, of course, VR, AR are big, but right now they're like really new stuff. So it's not really like a big business opportunity right now. But that's probably gonna be big in the future. I think it's gonna take a few years, but yeah, at least that.
So you feel like technologies are going to be the game changer here?
Well, at least with VR and AR, I feel like the experience is so awesome that when you do that, everybody who tries it thinks it's awesome. But right now, it's just too cumbersome and complicated to do. So I think that's the biggest issue there. But yeah, also of course, there's gonna be probably like different trends in the way games, like the kind of like the free-to-play model right now, how it is, probably will change. It's always changing. So yeah.
That's true, but speaking experiences, what do you think is more important in a game? Like the same age-old question, it's the graphics, it's the gameplay, the storytelling?
Gameplay, of course. Yeah.
The simplest question of all. Okay, so what do you think about St. Petersburg?
I love it so far. It's the first time actually for me in Russia and in St. Petersburg, so yeah.
And what about the conference?
Yeah, it's looking really awesome. It's like well organized, so I like it.
What was the best question you were asked so far?
I don't know which game you are playing right now, of course, because I'm waiting to go back home so I can continue playing.
I completely understand you there. But which question would you ask yourself if you were interviewing yourself?
Oh, that's a hard one. What's going to be your next game? And I couldn't answer right now because we are working on a lot of prototypes and we'll see what it's going to be. But yeah.
Right. Are you looking forward to any specific presentation? Which do you want to listen to most?
Yeah, I did mark a few. I don't remember the titles right now, but they were like interesting because there's a lot of like really cool people here who know like a lot about a lot of things. So yeah. I think for me, maybe on the kind of leadership business track is maybe the most kind of interesting for me right now because that's my job. So, yeah.
Well, you're one of the cool people here, so thank you for coming and thank you for being a part of this.